Hey, big question. Do you know who you are? And I didn't understand who I was until I had a life changing event in 2018. My name's Stephen Bones, by the way. I practice spirituality through shamanism. And you'll do me a huge favour and help me and others by subscribing and pressing that bell. So the question, do you know who you are, goes back to, in my view, spirituality, and I practice shamanism because they're one and the same for me. Neither of these are a religion. There's no scripts, there's no scripture. Both are a spirit-led calling. And these are only my perceptions. The idea is to get you curious, to get you to just think outside the box a little bit. And this comes after 8 years or so of working on myself and helping others, practicing spirituality, shamanism, healing. I facilitate a spiritual healing, if you like. So what happened, it was 2018. I had a huge life-changing event. And many that enter the world of spirituality, or an awakening as many call it, is usually after a life-changing event. Many experience losing their job or a relationship, maybe death of a loved one, so they're in grief, possibly an illness, maybe a near-death experience. The list is huge, but whatever it is, it actually stops us dead in our tracks. And then we begin to question what this thing we think is life all about. So do we really know who we are? And that's when it comes down to, who are we? Well, before my life-changing event, being successful was my thing. I was that was wrapped up in a box, good wife and a great income that allowed us to enjoy life and our children. And that was sort of it. It was all about the new car or the next house or the next holiday. And there's nothing wrong with that. And many of us relate to this thing that we call success. And however we define it, it's individually all different for each and every one of us, because we're all unique and we get far more, and we're far more than what we actually believe we are. And I begin to understand that as well through my journey. And yet we're all connected to everything, to the all, but there's a disconnect along the way, and that's what I found. So success and the life we choose is very different for all of us. And my definition can be very different to another. But what I do know and understand, it usually revolves around what we call being normal. So as I said earlier, that's home, partners, children, a good income producing activity. So a good income producing activity, whatever that is. And these all become pillars of our life. But when one of these falls away, that's when we start to question life. Because it can be like a teeth coming out, lots of all of your teeth coming out, I suppose, if we talk about it in that way. But if we don't actually question it and we rebuild the pillar, which I've done in the past, well, guess what? It actually falls again. And it could be the same one, or one of the other pillars falls. And I think you get the point. What I'm trying to bring to your attention is, if a pillar falls in your life, just look into it deeper. And if one has fallen, or you've had that experience and you've rebuilt another one, this is just a video to try and get you to sort of maybe look a little bit deeper. So what I've found by following my spiritual path, I've become more in touch with me inside, not the external hustle and bustle, not the material things that seem to make us happy, but what is it? I found me, because what I was really relying on was the outside experiences that made me feel good for a period of time. And now I enjoy life much more, and I still enjoy nice holidays and nice cars and all that sort of thing. but I'm not attached to them. It's not the most important thing. If I have one, great. If I don't, then great. Doesn't matter to me. And then this guidance and teaching by others that I met on the path, it all came together because there's one thing I can assure you: when you start down this path, you can't do it on your own. And so I learned that, and I began working with other people, and this took me, and that in turn brought me to teaching others as well. And this along the way took me from spirituality into shamanism, which is suppose one of the same, but the more I practice, the more I move closer to spirit, the more I realise that feeling unwell or a sickness or losing whatever we'd lost in that big life-changing event was actually orchestrated by my higher soul, my higher self, my spirit self, whatever you want to call it. I firmly believe that we orchestrate and create ourselves, and if we're not on the right road, that's why the pillars get knocked down to wake us up, and that's what I look back at now. That was definitely put there for me to wake up. And why does it do that? Because in my view, we're disconnected. We don't really know who we are. We lose the disconnect of what we are as spiritual beings because we have to trust ourselves. We have to trust what's inside. And then we have to remember who we are. And there are no rules or traditions in shamanism or in a spiritual journey. That's why there are no written scriptures. We just have to follow who we are to find ourselves, and it's a fantastic journey. So the more I follow this journey, the more my life is spirit-led, meaning no expectations whatsoever. There are things I would like, but I let go. I try not to get attached because I'm only human working through my, I was going to say SH1 then, but I will, SH1, the same as you are or many others are. But what I have found is working with spirit or being led by spirit is a journey into the unknown. And when we don't know what's going to happen or what the result is, it then creates a fear among us. And that also pushes us away from actually learning this stuff or engaging with who are we really. So we then live a life of fear because the disconnect doesn't allow us to trust in who we really are. And it's just those little small steps. And we sort of follow the masses, what we've been taught by our parents and our parents' parents and the institutions and what our community says is or thinks is right or wrong. And we live in a set of standard rules that is usually created by judgment. And we stay with it because it feels familiar. It feels safe to live our lives rather than step out of the box and create what is not normal, what others think. So what I try and do is follow out of the box, and it does raise eyebrows by people around me. But you know, what I do know is I'm far more content. I really understand who I am, and I don't worry about others raising eyebrows anymore. And to me, this is what it is all about. I trust that there is far more, far greater than what we are. So, bit of a long one tonight. Thanks very much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and we'll be going deeper into this stuff on the next video. So thanks once again.